Okay, so we are playing some Jank and drinking for Modern. I have 3 different decks I want to play today. So we are going to play them in the order of sobriety necessary to win with them. First one is Time Warp. I think this is going to be an okay hand. We're going to keep this. It's been a while. Also, if y'all like meme videos, I've been working on my video editing skills, and you should check out my YouTube channel if you haven't had the chance yet. I also post VODs and plan on posting other silly stuff there. So we're going to start off Island Serum Visions. Also, we're drinking, I have an empty can of it here. We're drinking whatever this is, which is 10% alcohol. We're really going to need that 4th land, aren't we? So put that on top. We'll keep them both. Hopefully this Giga Drowse will be enough to interact with whatever our opponent's doing. Like if this is Izzet Phoenix. Does that include drinking videos? Yes, they will be going on there. I'm probably going to have punt compilations and etc. My most recent video is actually pretty hilarious. I got done watching and I damn near peed myself. Because it just... I make stuff... I produce content that appeals to my sense of humor, which I realize is not everybody's sense of humor, but like I did it and I thought it was hilarious, so I posted it for everybody else to see, and the reaction has generally been positive. It's the Narset Reanimator video. It's very short. But I thought it was hilarious, and I'm looking forward to doing more stuff like that in the future as I have time to do it. Right now I'm trying to just produce enough content to make daily uploads a thing. Shivan Reef indicates to me that this is probably Storm and not the Phoenix deck, which is a little irritating. It's going to be a little harder to fight through, I think. So if our opponent plays, let's see. I'm tempted to just Giga Drowse now. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to do that. Also, what do you think? Seems like a stream improvement. Got some production quality up in here now. Got a green screen. Made the text and chat actually readable. Proud of you, Mom. Oh, good. Alright, well, we'll just play another land and hold up Cryptic and pass. Counter draw. The opponent remands. They resolve Electromancer. We could Giga Drowse, but if they play a single land and are holding a ritual, that means they can just go off. I'm not really seeing a good way out of this for us. Let's opt. Need the land, keep the land. I guess let's try and Giga Drowse again. Okay. Giga Drowse all their lands. If we can top deck land, we should be okay. Okay, so opponent decides to upkeep gifts. Drop the 2 red lands, because it seems like they really need a land. Oh my goodness. It's okay. If you've got something else to do, you can do it. Just come back whenever you like. Well, we did not hit a land. So I guess we have to pass turn and hold up Cryptic. You're being held here against your will. And why is that? Opponent ritual, ritual, ritual. No, I don't remember the deal. It has been a long time. Yeah, I'm thinking that's what I'm going to have to do, Raylan. Also, good to see you, too. Welcome new viewers to the stream. I'm Kano. I play Jank in Modern. Usually not sober. Just super dead. Oh, I'm just straight dead? Okay. Yeah, they have a Grape Shot and enough mana to cast it and then flashback Past in Flames, cast it again. So let's bring in Damping Spheres, let's bring in Relics, let's bring in Surgicals and Dispels. Let's drop anything that's pretty much not instant speed. Cut a couple Serum Visions. Cut maybe 1 Temporal Mastery. We'll cut 2 Temporal Masteries because we're no longer playing with Jaces in the deck. Which might be wrong, but Echoing Truth's not bad. They do have the token plan. Drop 1 Giga Drowse. Try like this. Also, I'm sorry, Six Sigma. My memory has been going to shit. Start Serum Visions. We're probably going to need more blue sources, but we don't need more lands right now. So, bottom, pass the turn. Opponent starts Steam Vents. Okay. We play a Radiant Fountain. And a Relic. Pass the turn. Should make it a little harder for our opponent to combo. Okay, opponent plays Electromancer, we'll opt. Flooded Strand to the bottom. Well, we're only drawing lands. We draw Time Warp, that's good. Usually they rely on Past in Flames to actually go off. So in that event, Relic is actually like pretty decent. Opponent has a second Electromancer. Alright, try and Flash Dictate. Oh, yeah, no, Radiant Fountain's life gain is completely irrelevant, yes. It's just main deck, it's not something I added. Okay, well, the good news is we have Giga Drowse. Welcome back, Six Sigma. I'm going to go ahead and Giga Drowse now. Bad news is they do just need a single mana to go off. That would be awful for us. And we're letting them draw an extra card too. Good news is hopefully maybe this Relic will be enough. Well, that's less than good. Who thinks this spell should have cost red, green, red, green? Because I sure think so. As in 2 hybrid mana. Opponent plays a 3rd cost reducer. And a Grape Shot. Well, if this is their only trick, then we should be okay. Alright, we have a chance. We have a real chance here. So we take 4, go to 11. Crack Relic to draw. Ooh, another Part the Water Veil is really good. Okay, Dictate trigger. Play a Nexus. Time Warp. Well, Damping Sphere makes a decent backup plan for if we run out of things to do. Okay, we draw our last Part the Water Veil. And Snapcaster. Snapcaster's good here. So Snapcaster Time Warp. Time Warp ourselves. Welcome new viewers to the stream. I'm Kano. I'm the guy that usually plays a lot of jank in Modern, and definitely not sober when he does. Welcome to the stream if you haven't been here before. If you follow, we're trying to make it to 100 followers. We're currently sitting at 97 or 98. Oh gosh. I also have a YouTube channel where I am currently working on producing a bunch of really hilarious meme content that's Magic related. Another relic is good. So, activate Ink Moth. Get in for 7 infect. Play relic. Exhaust our opponent. Echoing Truth, 2 Electromancers, and play Damping Sphere. Alright, opponent. Let me see you combo off through all this. Every hate piece I have, all at once. Gotcha. Okay, so now we have to win, but on the draw. It's going to be a little harder. If they saw it, they might board out empties. It's still relevant versus their cost reducers, and potentially like some kind of hate piece. I think it's fine to keep in as a generic like catch-all type thing. I'm going to keep this off of the strength of Damping Sphere and 2 relics. This might be an incorrect keep, but I'm going to try it. So start relic. Opponent opts. Go ahead and eat the opt. Opponent has a cost reducer. We draw a land, and alright, now here's the question. Do we play Damping Sphere, or do we play Relic number 2? To keep up the full graveyard nuke? I'm thinking just the Damping Sphere is going to be enough. Should be enough. So I'm actually going to go with Damping Sphere here. I think that's going to be okay. If we make it to next turn, I don't think our opponent can win through this amount of hate. Not without something serious that I'm not considering. Also, I really like these Hour of Devastation lands. I need to actually get enough so that I have enough to have them all match. Something like a random removal spell, like Wipe Away. That might do it. A Braid. That's true. I forget that a Braid actually sees like Eternal format play. Alright, we draw Surgical. So, as long as we don't die in 10 turns to this Electromancer, we should be okay. Unsubstantiate. I don't think Unsubstantiate hits non-creature permanents. I think it's only creatures. Opponent plays a Desperate Ritual. And they play Gifts Ungiven. Okay. Well, let's let Gifts resolve. Hey, I was right! My memory is actually better than I thought it was. Ugh. Hopefully they play something that we can like nab with Surgical here. Like Grape Shot. That'd be awesome. Like they're just picking up a bunch of stuff to go off with their combo. We might just hit one of their rituals. We'll see. Like, I think I might hit Manamorphose, if that's an option. Because, like, a bunch of red mana is useful, but if they can't filter it into blue at any point, then they're going to have trouble. Yeah, we're gonna do this now. They don't have any in hand, unfortunately. I could hit Gifts. Gifts would have been a reasonable target there. So they have Baral, Truth, Opt, Past in Flames, Remand, and Serum Visions. Because Surgical Extraction does not reveal. Okay, so there's Visions. Oh yeah, no, that would have been better. I should have done that, I think. Let's do our part to keep their graveyard empty. Well, I mean, now we have surgical for that. We could hit their ritual. Like, it's hard for them to combo without rituals. Is that worth it? That might be worth it. What was their hand? Brawl, Truth, Opt, Past in Flames, and Remand. Okay. Oh, we don't have to do it now either way. Opponent has Echoing Truth for Wet Ball. Yeah, I'm thinking Giga Drowse. So we still know they're holding Baral, Past in Flames, and Remand. Okay, land is good. So they have to have another removal spell for Damping Sphere. But we do need to find a way to deal with their creatures. Okay, land is good. They're holding a Remand. I don't know if it's worth it to try and Time Warp. I don't know if we'll get another chance. I think we're going to need to. They're probably just going to remand it here, and that's okay. Like, we're running out of time to do stuff. Ha! Running out of time. The Time Warp deck. We are running out of time to do stuff, and we need to try and get them out of resources they can use to counter our spells. Opponent gets in for 4. We take it. Opponent, Rituals. Rituals again. Plays a Brawl for 4 mana. We know they're holding a Past in Flames, but it all depends on whether or not they have a counterspell in hand and what we draw here. Okay, Time Warp resolves, targeting us. Well, that's not good. We need something. That's not something. We gotta draw Echoing Truth or Giga Drowse. Nope. Oh, that's unfortunate. We were one Time Warp away from pretty much having the game there. We put up a good fight. This hand's kind of expensive, but we're on the play. We have a Dictate and we have 2 lands, so I think this is going to be fine. So start Serum Visions. I think we're going to keep both of these cards. Put Flooded Strand on top of Exhaustion. Pass it back. Opponent plays a Flooded Strand. Play an island, Serum Visions. There's another Dictate. I think I'm going to top again. Pass the turn. Opponent looks like they're on control. Okay. Opponent fetches a Steam Vents, plays an Opt. I want the other Dictate that's on top. Okay, so we got out of that relatively unscathed, and we drew a Remand, which is really good. Okay, so opponent has Snapcaster Mage for Opt. Oops. Gosh darn it. Okay. Opponent Gets to draw an extra card. There's a Plains. Please try and like slam Jace. That would be great of you if you could do that for me. Okay, they get in for 2. They have 8 cards in hand, so we're not going to play anything. Okay, we get an opt and a time warp, so let's opt. We find a land, play the land. I think that's the plan for this turn. Opponent has Lightning Helix. Opponent gets in for 2. We take it, go to 12. Opponent plays a Search for Azcanta. That's fine. Okay. Jam Dictate. Resolves. Play a land. Play Thing in the Ice. It resolves. Pass the turn. The good news is we're playing a Nexus of Fate. The problem is if we exhaust there, they just keep up their counter mana and wait. They shouldn't do anything. Like any reasonable control player will play that way. I am trying to set up a situation where we can play a Time Warp with some kind of counterspell backup. And if it doesn't work this turn, the plan is to Nexus of Fate at their end step, which will force a counter, and then untap and play Time Warp with 3-man backup. That's true. I guess I undervalued the amount of, or the value of those cards. Opponent paths our Thing in the Ice, which I actually think is just fine. Opponent gets in for 2. Play a 3rd Dictate. Let's try a Time Warp. If they Cryptic, we just reband and win. If they have an actual, like, cheap counterspell, we will let that resolve and then, oh, well, sweet. We're going to keep this Radiant Fountain. I want to be out of double bolt range. Drop Nexus of Fate. Oh, shoot. I shouldn't have cracked fetch. Punt. Okay. Time Warp again. Giga Drow's the red source. Remand the Bolt. We know they've got it now. So we drop Temporal Mastery and probably an Exhaustion. Draw a million cards. Play an Inkmoth Nexus. So we Giga Drowse, 1 Replicate, tap their lands. Opponent shouldn't have Spell Pierces in the main. So we should be safe to cast a Temporal Mastery. Discard Nexus of Fate. Play a land. Awaken Inkmoth Nexus. Get in for 6. Discard Jace. Jace. Play a land. Awaken Inkmoth Nexus. Get in for 12. And our opponent concedes. Cool. So versus control. We bring in Dispels and Nimble Obstructionist. And we drop a Cryptic and I'm trying to remember how to play this deck. They're running a lot of bolts, so Jace actually isn't that great. I'll drop 1 Jace, and we'll drop probably a Temporal Mastery. I think Thing in the Ice is fine, because if they want to kill it, they either have to double bolt it or path it, and if it's just a Rampant Growth, I think we're okay with that. I think. Like, we're fine if our opponent wants to give us mana. Because that'll power up our Giga Drowses. That'll put us ahead with the ability to, like, dispel things later. Just should be okay. This is kind of a slow hand, but there's a lot of land, and versus control, frequently what I want to do is make a bunch of land drops, so I think this is fine to keep. That's kind of unfortunate. We'll start Radiant Fountain. Opponent appears to be on the budget fetch land mana base. I can't fault him. I do the same thing. Opponent plays Glacial Fortress. We play a land. We'll just keep making our land drops. Giga Drowse is how we win this battle. So that's actually a really sweet draw. We want to wait until we can get a dictate, though, to try and set up for the Giga Draws. Opponent Helix, that's fine, doesn't really change anything. Opponent plays another land. Passes turn. We're probably going to fire off this Nexus of Fate the instant we're at 7 mana at our opponent's end step. I have no idea what Wizards of the Coast was thinking with a friggin' instant speed time warp. Okay, opponent has Snapcaster for Lightning Helix. Also okay. Yeah, that's true, I guess. Either way. Okay, we draw Remand. Remand's a good draw to have here. Our opponent, I think, missed a land drop. Bolt. Opt. If our opponent misses their land drop this turn, we will Giga Draws all of their lands and then start to go off. We do need to draw something to take advantage of our current position. I think we're fine to do it now anyway. Opponent tanking really hard about this Giga Draws. Opponent Cryptics one of our lands. Yeah, that's okay. So we exhaust them. They attempt the negate. We remand the negate. And we're off to the races. Opponent has a Flooded Strand. We play an island. Temporal Mastery. Play a Flooded Strand. Nexus of Fate. Fetch an island. Opt. Serum Visions to the bottom. Good, good. Okay. Play an Ink Moth. Play Dictate. Part the Water Veil. Okay. Let's awaken Ink Moth Nexus. They probably have a path here. Oh, they don't. Okay. Probably just kill him then. Because now we have Cryptic backup. Yeah. Yeah, we got him. Woo, sweet! I almost F6'd. Woo, we're 1-1! In rounds, in games, we have won 3, we have lost 2. Our first round opponent was Storm, which tends to be a tougher matchup for a lot of decks, including this one. What the heck? Oh, that's right, I have to return the game. Our opponent mulliganed. We have 2 Thing in the Ice, but we have no cantrips to turn it on. It's kind of a little bit of a slower hand, I think. I'm going to mulligan this. Okay. Alright, this is good. We're going to keep this one. We'll put Snapcaster on the bottom. We're going to try and dig for Dictate. Opponent starts Wooded Foothills into Forest and Noble Hierarch. This could be a myriad of different decks. I'm going to put Giga Drowse on top and the Thing of the Ice on top of that. Opponent plays a Noble Hierarch number 2. It's in for 2. This is probably Infect from the looks of it. Hopefully we can Giga Drowse into Cryptic into Flip Thing and put our opponent so far behind that they can't play the game anymore. Could be Land Destruction. I'm going to Cryptic them at their upkeep here. Or not Cryptic, Giga Drowse, I mean. We're going to tap both of their Hierarchs. We're actually going to tap a... Oh, this is probably the Kiki deck, actually. We're going to tap Sacred Foundry, Eternal Witness, and Forest. Or Sacred Foundry, Eternal Witness, and Hierarch. To prevent them from being able to attack through Thing with Eternal Witness and 2 Exalted triggers. Next turn we'll have Cryptic Command so we can kind of deal with anything that's going to happen. Opponent had Path. That's okay. Ramps us towards our Time Warps. Opponent plays an Arid Mesa. They crack it. Find a Plains. Scavenging Ooze. They get in for 2. Okay. We draw an Opt, we play a land, pass the turn. we'll take this damage. We need to get to 7 land pretty fast here. We'll keep the opt again, and we'll keep the Time Warp. Even if it's just a redraw here, it should be okay. Alright, Flooded Strand, that's a good draw. Perfect. Okay, so now if our opponent doesn't do anything we need to Cryptic, we will queue up 2 turns with Nexus of Fate at their end step. Opponent gets in for 4. No blocks. We take it and go to 7. And Nexus of Fate. Okay, 2 turns. Turn 1, Cryptic Command. Let's bounce Scavenging Ooze and draw a card, because we really need lands. Or more Time Warps. Or Dictates. There's a lot of things we could use. Opponent plays a Restoration Angel to blink their Scavenging Ooze. Restoration Angel and the presence of red mana indicates that this is almost certainly the Kiki deck. Okay. Serum Visions. We draw a Thing in the Ice. We'll put Serum Visions on top, and we'll put Temporal Mastery on top of that. Cast Part the Water Veil. We will Miracle Temporal Mastery. Cast Thing in the Ice. Pass the turn. Okay, we draw Serum Visions, play Serum Visions. Okay. Island and Remand to the bottom. Play a land, pass the turn, hold up Cryptic. So we will counter Eldritch Evolution and draw a card. Opponent eats Time Warp. We draw Snapcaster. Okay. And they get in for 5. Well, while they're out of green mana, we're going to Snapcaster for an opt. Okay. We find a Temporal Mastery. But in place of it, we're going to cast Nexus of Fate because that gives us a better opportunity to draw a Time Warp. So we flip the Awoken Horror, take an extra turn, get in for 7. We draw Exhaustion, which is really good. We will Snapcaster now for Giga Drowse. Giga Drowse down our opponent's last land. And exhaust them. I guess technically this is worse than just playing Temporal Mastery, but didn't know if our opponent was going to try and slow roll a path or something. Okay, so versus the Kiki deck. They don't really use the graveyard, so our graveyard spells aren't going to work. Echoing Truth is probably worthy inclusion. So is another Cryptic. And... Nimble Obstructionist might be worth consideration here. I think we're going to drop one Jace, one Temporal Mastery, and Serum Visions. And I think that's a fair sideboard for this matchup. Kind of a slow hand, but we're on the draw with 2 exhaustions. I think we're going to keep this. We do need to make some good draws here, but I think as far as a hand of 7 goes, I think this is pretty good. Alright, Giga Drowse helps fill out our curve here. Okay, opponent has Scavenging Ooze and Noble Hierarch. Okay, opponent gets in with the Skoos. And they play a Knight of Autumn. Good all-around sideboard card. Go ahead and Giga Drowse their last 2 permanents here. Okay, we draw Mikokoro. That's a really good draw. Let's exhaust our opponent. Welcome new viewers to the stream. I'm Kano. I'm streaming Jank and Modern, and I'm definitely not sober. So if you enjoy that kind of content, please follow the stream, because we are sitting at 97 or 98 followers last I checked, and once we hit 100, we're going to open 65 treasure chests on MTGO. Should be a lot of fun for everybody. So we Miracle a Temporal Mastery after our Time Warp Chain. We Mikokoro to draw an extra card. We find an Echoing Truth that can be useful. Take our next extra turn. Opponent eats a Time Warp. Okay, well, we just cast Part the Water Veil, not Awaken mode. We need to hit another land so we can Snapcaster our last Time Warp. There it is. Okay, let's opt. Don't think we need the land here. Okay, we get a Giga Drowse. Okay, let's get in for 2. And we will pass turn and hold up Cryptic plus Echoing Truth. Okay. Let's tap all creatures our opponents control. And draw a card. Opponent floats mana, eats an exhaustion. They want to clear out our grave so we don't do any more Snapcaster shenanigans. We Miracle a Temporal Mastery off of the Cryptic draw, and we're going to take 2 turns in a row. Not much our opponent can do about that. Opponent Eldritch Evolution's a bird for Gaddock Teeg. Well, luckily, we have 2 turns queued up. So first we play Thing in the Ice. Then we Echoing Truth Gaddock Teeg, take a counter off thing. And we Mikokoro to draw a card. Okay. Oh, I should have attacked. That was a mistake. My apologies. Okay, we opt. Take another counter off thing. We don't need Nimble Obstructionist right now. Ooh, we're gonna need something. That's not something. Alright, so we are going to stop at our opponent's upkeep and Giga Drowse them. Okay, opponent has a path. That's mighty unfortunate. Tap down as much of their mana as we can. Opponent Restoration Angels. Flickers Night of Autumn. Gains 4 life. Hopefully they do not have a white land for Teeg, but it appears they do. Opponent gets in for 3 with the Exalted trigger. We're going to try and keep fighting this one out, but I don't think we're going to be able to win. I'm not sure we have an answer to Gaddock Teeg left in the deck anyway. Unless our opponent decides to attack with it. They don't. We take a bunch of damage. Opponent plays a Voice of Resurgence. And Eldritch Evolution for a Shalai. So at our upkeep, we activate Mikokoro to draw Dictate, play Dictate, draw some extra cards, and scoop it up. Okay, moving on, game 3. We don't have any more removal for Gaddock Teeg. If our opponent lands one, our only real option is this Singleton Echoing Truth, which is not the place you want to be in. Unfortunately, we don't really have a way to prevent that other than that one Echoing Truth, so... I like this hand, but it's a little slow. Alright. Let's keep it. There's a Time Warp. We'll put it to the bottom, though. Start Serum Visions. Oh, that's a lot of lands. We do not need that many lands. Opponent plays a Birds of Paradise. We play a land, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Voice of Resurgence. We should have cast Opt in response, but I did not, so we are not going to cast Opt. I'm going to call that a drunk punt. Play an island, play an Opt. At this point, we'll keep a Time Warp. We just need our opponent to not have Gaddock Teeg or a way to tutor him. Okay, opponent plays a Shalai, Voice of Plenty. Gets in for 2. We Miracle a Temporal Mastery, which works as a very nice Explore that untaps our lands. Play a Flooded Strand, we'll crack a Flooded Strand, get an island, pass to our next turn. We find a Thing in the Ice. Should be rather useful. I'm going to go ahead and Time Warp now and get one more redraw so we can play it and have mana for Cryptic. Another Thing in the Ice. We'll play Thing in the Ice, pass turn, and hold up Cryptic Command. Opponent gets in for 3, we'll take it. And Miracle Temporal Mastery. Okay. Resolves. Play Thing in the Ice. Pass to our next turn. Opponent has Path for Thing in the Ice. Number 1. Opponent Chord of Calling X2, probably for Gaddock Teeg. Yep, that's unfortunate. Okay, well, we are going to pass turn and hopefully flash this Nimble Obstructionist to ambush Teeg when it swings. Our opponent is... If our opponent plays around this, they are watching us on stream. So we give our opponent a huge elemental at the expense of being able to cast spells later. Opponent pumps their team, we take 4. Trade off with Teeg. We find an island. Pass the turn. We tap the team and draw a card. We give them another huge token. Yeah, we're going to have to draw pretty much running Time Warps at this point. Opponent plays a Knight of Autumn. Gains life. And a Hierarch. We either need 3 cantrips or 3 Time Warps. Well, why can I not cast... Oh, our opponent has Hexproof! Oh, why does this give players Hexproof? In that case, we're just dead. We cannot target our opponent. And they have more than enough power on board to kill us. Alright, opponent, you got us. I don't think that hand is keepable. This hand, however, is. I think 1 exhaustion on top of the deck here is going to be good. Okay. So we start Serum Visions. Time Warp to the bottom, Island to the top. Pour myself a beer. Oh, I have a stop at my upkeep. I was like, why does this not look like I expected to? Okay. Take the stop off of our own upkeep because we don't need it right now. Start Serum Visions. We draw Temporal Mastery, which is kind of unfortunate. We'll put Cryptic on top and Island on top of Cryptic. Play Radiant Fountain in case our opponent is Burn. We can play around Skullcrack and buy 1/2 of a bolt worth of a turn, which is sometimes enough. If this is Burn, the Dictate plan is risky, but it's not something that we like have to worry a ton about. Oh, it's the Pyromancer deck. Okay. Well, pass the turn. Opponent gets in for 2 with their Young Pyromancer. We flash in a Dictate of Kruphix at their end step. Untap, draw Cryptic Command, which is going to be very nice. And another Dictate. Also really good. Yeah, if the Mardu Pyromancer deck doesn't draw their hand hate right off the bat, we should be in a pretty easy to win, good enough spot, I think. Okay, opponent plays a land. And they attack for 3. We take it, no blocks. Opponent plays a Inquisition. I'm going to go ahead and flash a Dictate here. Opponent can take Exhaustion if they want. We do have Cryptic Command to tap down their guys. If they have another piece of hand hate, we should draw something this way. We also really need to hit our lands. There's a land. Cool. So we could Snapcaster Exhaustion here, but our opponent has a ton of mana up. That might still actually be the play. Let's do that. Exhaust our opponent. Opponent fetches with Bloodstained Mire, shocks, so that they can have an untapped land. Okay. We pass turn to them, they draw a bunch of cards. This is good beer. I really like, there's a local brewing company in Utah called Proper, and they make some salt beers. And they're really, really delicious. I would highly recommend. You ever get the chance to try a coriander and salt beer, that you take it. That is if you like beer. Okay, opponent Dreadbores our Snapcaster and gets in with a token. We draw Nephalia Academy. So we play it. We don't have quite enough mana for Temporal Mastery, so I'm actually, I was thinking about slamming Jace, but there's like no way they don't have a bolt for him. And we don't get to take an extra turn right yet, so we're going to pass with Cryptic up. Let's tap their team and draw a card. Okay, we draw an island. We stop all the incoming damage. Opponent is trying to do stuff at their beginning of combat step that they cannot do. Opponent plays a Marsh Flats and a second Young Pyromancer. Okay. At their end step, we will opt. We'll keep a land at this point. Okay. We untap, we draw a bunch of cards, and we should be in a position now where we can win the game. So we play a land, play a Temporal Mastery. Okay, pass to our next turn. I'll draw a whole bunch of cards. Unfortunately, none of them are time warps. Let's Serum Visions. See what we draw. Nexus and, okay. Dictate to the bottom. Exhaustion to the bottom. Yeah. Okay. We have 9 cards in hand. Okay. Yep. Opponent fetches. They find a plains. They Lightning Helix, targeting us. And they terminate a token to make 2 tokens. We discard Island and Island. Opponent draws a bunch of cards. So at their beginning of combat, let's tap their team and draw a card. We draw Nexus of Fate. That's a good draw. They fetch with an Arid Mesa. Find a mountain. If they Blood Moon us, that's hilarious because we're almost all islands. Yep, we don't actually need the use of our colorless lands now. Let's throw down a 3rd Dictate. The worst thing opponent can do is put Nexus of Fate back in our deck. Opponent is also only on red mana, so we are very capable of animating a land with a Part the Water Veil and doing so safely. Our opponent will not have a path, a push, a terminate, anything like that. They would have to double bolt, which we would still get an extra turn. We would get plenty of draws to theoretically get out of that situation, so I think we'll be fine. Whew, for as intoxicated as I am right now, I'm actually rather coherent and logical. It's pretty sweet. Okay, opponent puts Nexus of Fate back in our deck and plays Bedlam Reveler. Alright, cool. We draw a Jace. So let's opt. Island to the bottom. Okay. Oh shoot, maybe that was not the play. Looks like we're going to have to Snapcaster a Cryptic. That kind of sucks. But if it's how you stay alive, it's how you stay alive. So, discard a Giga Draws. Opponent gets to draw approximately 1,000,000 cards. Okay. Play Snapcaster. Target Cryptic. Okay. Tap all our opponent's dudes. Draw a card. We draw Serum Visions. Opponent Faithless Looting. They get a couple of tokens. They trigger Prowess. They get some loots. Some sweet loots. They discard a couple lands. Opponent Thought Seizes us. Well, there's nothing we're particularly attached to or require actually in our hand currently. Opponent takes Remand. Opponent plays a Nahiri the Harbinger. Opponent exiles a Dictate of Kruphix. That's actually sort of useful for us because we're kind of overdrawing at the moment. We only have 27 cards left in our deck, and we haven't drawn Time Warps for quite some time. I said time way too many times. And I just did it again. You know, I said I wasn't going to do it again, but stand back because I'm going to do it again. Alright, awesome. So, we definitely start Island and Serum Visions. Okay, Remand to the bottom, Time Warp to the top. Play Jace. Brainstorm with Jace. Put back Island and Polluted Delta. Time Warp, target ourselves. Okay, take our next turn. Play a land. Take up Jace. Put Fatal Push on the bottom. We will Awaken a Fountain. And pass turn. Discarding a Nexus. Okay. We untap, we draw a bunch more cards. Play an island. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. We're going to tap all of our opponent's tokens. Cast Time Warp, target ourselves. And kill our opponent. We didn't animate the Ink Moth because our opponent has a Blood Moon right now. So Ink Moth doesn't have any activated abilities. Otherwise, yes, usually the combo is to animate Ink Moth and give it Infect and kill him in one Time Warp. It's okay. It is a very complicated board state. And I'm drunk. I almost forgot it. Don't feel bad. So versus this deck. Did I just click a card into the deck? Yes, a Cryptic Command. Okay. I think we want Echoing Truth, and I think we want Obstructionist. And we're going to go down a Jace because they have Dreadbores and Bolts. And we're going to go down Temporal and a Serum Visions. Try it like this. Okay, we're going to keep this hand. Exhaustion seems like a fine card to have on top. Is Thing in the Ice in the main deck or sideboard? We have two things in the main deck with this current list. I feel like if you had some EEs, I'm assuming that's Engineered Explosives. It could help solve most of your problems. Yes. Engineered Explosives, however, is an incredibly expensive card online for basically no reason. So that's the only reason I don't have Engineered Explosives. I would be running Engineered Explosives in approximately like 8 different decks if I had them. Alright, well theoretically here we have Dictates plus Exhaustion. Opponent wants to Molten Rain. That's annoying, but not crippling. We'll keep a second Dictate just in case of hand disruption. No problem, Merlin Man. I'm happy to help. Play an island. Pass the turn. Opponent plays their 4th land. Fetches. Finds a swamp. Thoughtseize. Opponent takes a Dictate of Kruphix. Plays a Comball, Console of Innovation. Allocation, excuse me. So Comball is actually kind of a huge pain in the butt for this deck. Thankfully, we do have 3 cryptic commands in the main board. We should be able to find a way to answer him. But he does limit the amount of time that we have. We don't just get to play solitaire anymore. So opponent starts off Faithless Looting, drops 2 Bedlam Revelers, and plays a Young Pyromancer. They get in for 2 with Comball, and then pass the turn. We play Dictate. They gain 2 life, we lose 2 life. We untap, we draw a couple cards. We draw an Opt and a Temporal Mastery. Unfortunately, it was in that order. So let's play an island and exhaust our opponent. We take approximately the same amount of damage either way. This prevents them from using their mana more efficiently. Opponent, Faithless Looting, main phase. They drop a Kolaghan's Command and a Mountain. They get in for 2. We take it. We're going to opt at their end step. We find a Thing in the Ice, so we will keep it. We draw a Remand and another Temporal. Once again, in the wrong order. So we play Thing in the Ice, help soak up some of the damage, pass the turn. Opponent gets to draw some extra cards. Opponent casts a Thoughtseize. Alright, well we don't really have a choice but to let them have that. Opponent gets in, gets in, gets in. Block Comball. We take 3 and go to 7. Opponent has not cast any lightning bolts yet, so it's making me kind of hesitant to crack this fetch land. Opponent Kolaghan's Command to return a Bedlam Reveler and kill our Thing in the Ice. That... Oh, no, they dealt the damage to us. Okay. Alright, well we found a Cryptic. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be too little too late. Depends on whether or not our opponent casts cards in their main phase. All our opponent has to do is recast Comball, and I'm afraid we lose the game. It's too bad we didn't have a Giga Drowse to tap them out of their only white source with Comball off the field. If we draw exactly Radiant Fountain and a Cryptic, then we can win the game. But it has to be exactly those 2 cards. Yep. We'll scoop it up. So close. That game was really, really close. I don't know of any changes I want to make to our current list that we're running. So I'm going to go ahead and fire it back. Oh man, I love beer. It's great. I would love to play first. If even one of these, if this land was an island, I would almost certainly snap keep this. Because Nephalia Academy protects us really well against hand disruption. Oh man, this is tough. I don't think we can manage though. Because like we need 2 islands for this hand to be good. Well, we could get by with one just to get me Kokoro online. Now, there's got to be better hands of 6 than this. This hand is a better hand of 6. So we will keep this. We'll keep Echoing Truth as well. Opponent starts Bloodstained Mire. Fetches up a Blood Crypt, shocks it in, and Thought Seizes. They have an option of Cryptic or Dictate. They almost certainly should take Dictate. They do. Okay, we draw our Echoing Truth. Who plays a Young Pyromancer. We draw another Dictate by the virtue of some magic deities. Oh my gosh. So our opponent Molten Rains. In response, we Dictate of Kruphix. Opponent gets a token. They blow up an island and get in for 2. We untap, we draw Cryptic Command and another island, which is super good. Opponent gets to draw 2 cards now. Opponent gets in for 3. We'll take it. Not much choice there. Opponent fetches their Bloodstained Mire for a swamp and casts Nahiri the Harbinger. Unfortunately, we do not have the mana to Cryptic Nahiri here. But we do really desperately want this Dictate, so I'm going to Echoing Truth it. Okay. We play Mikokoro, pass the turn. Okay. Opponent loots with Nahiri. They discard a Fatal Push and play a Mountain. A second Young Pyromancer. Opponent gets in for 3. We take it, go to 12. Opponent Thought Seizes in the second main phase. They've already activated Nahiri, so we flash in Dictate. They get 2 1/1 tokens. They take a Cryptic from us. We untap, we draw a Radiant Fountain and a Nimble Obstructionist. Obstructionist will actually prove to be relatively useful here. So we play Fountain. Pass the turn. Opponent draws a couple cards. Opponent ticks down on our Dictate of Kruphix. So we cycle Nimble Obstructionist to stifle the Nahiri activation and draw a card. Come on, Temporal. It's a Part the Water Veil. Next best thing. Opponent loots faithlessly. Whew, probably gonna have to slow down on these drinks, but they're so tasty. So good. Opponent drops a Bedlam Reveler and a Blackcleave Cliffs. Opponent Thought Seizes. Gets more tokens. Debating really hard about what they want to take. They take Cryptic Command. They play a second Nahiri. Ah, what luck. They exile our Dictate, and that's probably the end for us. Not without some really good running here. Alright, well, Cryptic will at least keep us alive, and if we miracle a Temporal Mastery, we might get somewhere. Okay, opponent loots. They drop a Bloodstained Mire. We tap their guys and draw, because that's what we need to do to stay alive. We draw Serum Visions. Opponent flashes back Faithless Looting, gets even more tokens. They drop a Marsh Flats and a Lingering Souls. They flash back Lingering Souls. Okay, we untap, we draw Time Warp, so we Serum Visions. Exhaustion to the bottom. Time Warp to the bottom. We need lands. We Time Warp. Alright, we draw Exhaustion. We part the Water Veil. We draw land. We can tap a couple of things and exhaust our opponent. How can we try and win from here? It's like we can tap like their land, 2 guys. And then exhaust. This is not really how you win the game, though. This is the try and stay alive desperately. We would need like Miracle Temporal Mastery, Mikokoro activation into like Dictate Time Warp Chain basically in order to win. And considering we have a Dictate in the exile zone already. Opponent gets in for 2. We go to 5. We draw Serum Visions. We Serum Visions. And the Time Warps are just 1 too deep. Hang on. We play an island. We can activate Mikokoro, but we only have 4 mana. All 3 Cryptics are in the grave. There's Miracling Temporal Mastery doesn't do anything, so no reason to do it on our opponent's turn, and unfortunately we scoop it out. Oh, so close. Well, that's League number 1 down.